Kelly Lang, Keith Morrison, Fritz Coleman Weather, Fred Rogan, Sports, and Doug Kriegel, Money Matters. Channel 4 News at 6, number 1 in Southern California.
Good evening. Top story at 6 o'clock. A fire broke out just about an hour ago in downtown LA's historic Central Library, but fire officials are reporting it appears to be knocked down now. This was just 2.5 years ago that fire ravaged the building and destroyed nearly 1 million books there. No books were burned in today's fire at all. 14 firefighting companies still there on the scene. First report said the fire erupted on the 4th floor, but it now looks like the fire broke out in the basement. The library currently under restoration in a project costing upwards of $2 million. The permanent library was slated to reopen in 1992. Again, a fire at LA Central Library. It appears to be knocked down. We don't know the extent of the damage yet.
A 35-year-old Long Beach mother is in jail tonight, booked for setting fire to an abortion clinic. The arrest came late last night after arson investigators combed the burned-out rubble of the Long Beach Women's Family Planning Clinic. Shannon Taylor is accused of pouring a flammable liquid through the clinic's front door mail slot Sunday night and then striking a match, causing about $50,000 damage. She is also accused of starting a minor fire at the clinic in June. Investigators say Taylor had previously picketed the abortion clinic. Big brush fire near Corona. It was threatening homes for a while. A late report on that fire from Channel 4's Conan Nolan.
The fire broke out around 1:30 this afternoon along Horse Thief Canyon in the Cleveland National Forest. Strong canyon winds sent flames up a hillside from a housing construction project toward a number of expensive ranch homes.
I just saw the smoke starting up. One of the laborers had saw smoke. By the time I got over here, the thing was halfway up the hill. That was about it. I saw flames starting up, and it probably took a matter of about 2 minutes.
Fire crews and homeowners were able to keep the flames from reaching any of the structures.
Firefighters say damage to some of the homes would have been much greater had it not been for some civilian bulldozer operators. They say these men saw the fire start. They made their way up a hill in order to save some of the homes.
Still, it was the work of the California Department of Forestry and U.S. Forest Service helicopters, hand crews, and their bulldozer drivers who contained the fire near the homes.
The fire's got up into the steep, narrow canyons, makes it inaccessible for our equipment to get directly to it. We can get some dozer work in, but it's mainly hand crews. Anytime you have hand crews in there, it's hard, tedious work and is very time-consuming.
The fire has scorched over 600 acres so far and is still burning out of control. Investigators earlier thought the blaze was started by some heavy equipment, but now say the cause is under investigation. Conan Nolan, Channel 4 News in the Cleveland National Forest.
Statistics now. Figures out today show that gang-related killings in Los Angeles are up more than 12% so far this year. The September figures alone are up more than 50% from this month last year. The LAPD says the rise is due to a rash of gang murders last month in South Central LA. And again this morning, another gang shooting in that part of town, this one near a school playground. Matt Stevens has the story.
The playground at Gomper School was crowded this morning while a 14-year-old boy ran for his life outside the fence. Small caliber bullets peppered the school's wall, and one lodged itself above the boy's right eye.
We have a Locke High School student who is en route to school when a vehicle approaches him, and he and the operator of the vehicle flash gang signs back and forth to one another.
Kid that was running? Witnesses gave police a license number. The car used in the shooting was found, but the suspects weren't with it. Gomper's principal, Ron Sakota, felt grateful that the stray bullets found the wall.
I see the students out before school, after school, doing nutrition at lunchtime. And the way they act, the way they laugh, the way they smile, the way they act like regular, normal young kids. I know that they feel safe on our campus.
Across the street, shell casings littered the front yard of Ethel and Derek Wright's home. Ethel grew up here and stayed clear of the gangs.
Hopefully, it won't happen again.
I kind of fear for my son growing up, things like that. I just hope they can kind of clean it up and it can get better.
The boy kept running after he was hit and made his way to the nurse's office at Locke High School 2 blocks away. Principal Ed Robbs made a point of speaking to every class in school not long ago. He asked the students what they thought people thought of them because they live here. Thugs, they said, that were all thugs and gangsters.
You always hope that they see the light and either try to change their ways of doing things and kind of try to stay out of trouble. It's what you hope. They'll learn something from it rather than get deeper into it.
Doctors say the boy will live to get his chance. Matt Stevens, Channel 4 News, South Central Los Angeles.
A former Los Angeles police officer has been convicted in the murder-for-hire killing of a Northridge businessman. After a week of deliberations, the jury today found Richard Ford guilty of murdering Thomas Weed, who disappeared from his home in February 1983. Prosecutors claim Ford and his partner, Robert Von Villas, got $20,000 from Weed's ex-wife for that killing. Ford was also found guilty of special circumstances for which he could face the death penalty. The trial for Robert Von Villas is still underway. And two former bodyguards of sex magazine publisher Larry Flint pleaded innocent today to murder charges in the contract killing of Roy Radine. William Mentzer and Alex Marti are charged with first-degree murder in the May 1983 slaying of Radine. Radine was a New York theatrical producer who came to Hollywood hoping to produce movies. Prosecutors claim Radine was killed over a deal that involved several films, including Cotton Club and Chinatown. Metzner and Marti have been ordered back to court November 7th, when a date for a preliminary hearing is going to be set.
Other news, LA police cracked another major drug ring over the weekend, a bust that produced more than 1,600 pounds of cocaine. Police also found more than $550,000 in cash, along with weapons and other equipment. 8 Colombian nationals arrested in connection with the ring. Federal officials used the occasion to complain that the state is much too lenient in its punishment. Meantime, LA County Sheriff Sherman Block awarded federal money for an earlier drug bust, said he's going to use those funds to beef up his own department's anti-drug efforts. And indictments were handed down today in a major drug-related money laundering case involving one of the world's biggest banks. And as Patrick Healy reports, there is a key Southern California connection.
Authorities say the money came from South American cocaine, lots of it. This batch seized in Philadelphia was hidden in anchovy cans. The indictment contends the money laundering was based at the Miami branch of the Bank of Credit and Commerce International, chartered in Europe and rated the world's 7th largest international banking institution. Its officers include Amjad Awan, personal banker of Panamanian strongman Manuel Noriega, accused but never prosecuted for drug dealing. The indictment unsealed in Florida names 85 defendants.
But what is really important here is that we have indicted an international financial institution.
Some of the accused were arrested when they showed up at a bogus bachelor party set up in Florida by the FBI as part of a sting. Pasadena is home for 2 of the accused international drug dealers and money launderers, Roberto and Gloria Alcano. She was arrested Saturday here in Los Angeles. He was arrested last month on a cocaine case in New York. Customs agents have seized the Alcano home, secluded behind shrubs and a gate in the expensive hills above Pasadena's Rose Bowl. Federal agents also seized an apartment project that is under construction on Alcano property south of MacArthur Park. The government contends the construction is illegally financed with drug money.
Since I've known them, they've been in the jewelry business, both retail and wholesale. And that's the extent of my knowledge. What other involvement they have, I do not know.
Authorities seized evidence from Bank of Credit and Commerce branches in Miami and London. No federal action was taken to prevent the Los Angeles office from opening.
I cannot say anything.
The bank's accounts are not protected by federal deposit insurance. The financial effects of this case could be felt worldwide. Patrick Healy, Channel 4 News, downtown Los Angeles.
Actress, philanthropist, businesswoman Benita Granville Rather died of cancer in a Santa Monica hospital today. She was 65 years old. Benita Granville first gained the spotlight at the age of 7 when she appeared in the film Westward Passage. But most of her recent appearances have been in her role as chairwoman of the board of the American Film Institute, a project she nurtured since shortly after its beginning. She also headed the business development firm Rather Corporation, taking the reins after the death of her husband, Jack Rather. She is survived by her 3 children.
All right, we've got the weather next. That, of course, is Fritz.
Also ahead, UCLA is getting ready to have the world's attention focused upon it. We'll be right back.
I don't understand. I was a good husband. I gave my wife everything she wanted.
I had nothing. I had a home.
And a office in Tarzan. All right, Fritz joins us with a look at our autumn weather. Autumn weather finally cooling off a little bit, Jess. We're losing the Santa Ana, getting an onshore flow, which will cool us off, but also introduce some fog and clouds into our sky, along the coastline especially. Dense fog tonight from Zuma up through the Santa Barbara area. The south coast had it last night, but feels pretty good. Valleys will get some relief tomorrow, finally. Santa Monica's our outside weather location. The captain up in the, what do we call it?
Helicopter.
Air Smurf. That's right. The helicopter today, and there's a great shot of the marine layer, a couple thousand feet thick, and this is the source of all our clouds and fog that blows inland on the southwest breezes. These numbers at this hour, we have 80 for a high today, low 65. Right now downtown, 75 degrees. The barometric pressure at 29.94. We have a 58% relative humidity, and winds are out of the west at 10 miles an hour. Today's weather question from Arthur Aaron of Los Angeles. Would you please tell us the temperature outside the space shuttle when it's in orbit? It's great, space shuttle in everybody's mind. I got to thank Yuri Vanderwood, a specialist at JPL. I bugged this guy more times, and every time I call up, he says, not you again. But he gave me the answer. On the sun side, or the lit side of the orbiter, 250 degrees Fahrenheit. But on the shadow side, minus 250 degrees. Because there is no atmosphere, there is the wide range in temperatures. Just kind of like Palm Springs. It's 150 degrees during the day, and then at night, boom, you freeze to death. It's kind of that thing there. But thank you very much, Yuri, and thank you for your question. We'll send you a prize package. Cooler days ahead. The Rocky Mountain high-pressure system that set up a Santa Ana over the weekend, the offshore wind with the drying effect and the 90-plus temperatures has broken down. What's replacing it is its exact opposite, a cooling southwest breeze. But again, along with bringing the cooler temperatures into the valleys tomorrow, we also see the return of dense coastal fog in a couple of spots and haze in the afternoon sun. Next couple of days, hazy and cooler and much more comfortable. Overnight lows tonight will be this way. In the valley areas in Burbank and Arcadia will be about 60 degrees or slightly above, 60 along the coast, 58 in the city of Orange, and 61 in Riverside. Daytime highs tomorrow, mid-80s in the valleys will be a nice change, upper 60s at the coast, 76 in Orange County, 90 inland counties, 82 in Thousand Oaks. Here's your forecast tonight. Fair generally, but low clouds and locally dense fog, most likely along the northern coast, low 62. And tomorrow, hazy sun with a high of 82, and then we'll be about 80 for the remainder of the week. And that's 5 or 6 degrees above normal, fairly typical for fall.
We like it.
All right.
Great relief. Okay.
Good.
Thank you,
All
Fitzy.
right.
Now, yes?
There are reports that NBC is about to offer the moon and maybe even a couple of stars to keep the man who is credited in a large measure with keeping NBC #1. Doug Kriegel is next with that story. You want to?
Yes, indeed. No, we've got to get there. Also, Congress at work tonight on a measure to give taxpayers more protection. So I'll be right back with both those money matters and much more.
SANE is substance abuse narcotics education. Our children's future depends on history.
General, we're outnumbered and the men can't seem to hold on much longer. Should the men fall back? Should I sound the retreat? They're waiting for your orders, sir.
Retreat? Never. I think we can take them.
Ooh, good answer! Families feud it out every weeknight at 7:30, only on Channel 4.
An exclusive local club cannot remodel or expand its facilities on a public beach so long as it discriminates against women and minorities. The Supreme Court of the United States today turned down an appeal by the Jonathan Club, upholding the right of the California Coastal Commission to grant or deny permits at Santa Monica Beach based on membership discrimination. Representatives of the Jonathan Club refused to say whether the club bars membership to women or minorities, saying that that's no concern of the Coastal Commissions.
Okay, Doug Kriegel now with Money Matters and the Taxpayers' Bill of Rights.
It's a long time in coming, Kelly, but it's on its way. In fact, tonight the U.S. Senate has just passed the so-called Taxpayers' Bill of Rights. What is it? Well, current law allows the government in tax cases to seize a person's property or freeze their bank account in 10 days without a hearing. This would change that.
When the government calls you down for a tax audit, it can be a traumatic experience. Most taxpayers don't know their rights when it comes to audits and property seizures by the government. But tonight, Congress is working on a bill that would change the tax law and give people greater protection in disputes with the Internal Revenue Service. Under this Taxpayers' Bill of Rights, the government would have to notify taxpayers of their rights in writing in advance of a tax audit. Also, the government would have to give 30 days notice to a taxpayer before any property seizure could take place. Current law says only 10 days notice can be given before a person's property is taken.
30-day period would simply allow a taxpayer a little more time to attempt to resolve the situation and attempt to resolve the dispute.
Professor Ira Shafarov is a former Internal Revenue Service agent now teaching at Southwestern University Law School. Shafarov says sometimes tax agents are judged by their bosses on how much taxpayer property gets seized. The Taxpayers' Bill of Rights would make this illegal.
Once in a while, a manager may, for example, base an evaluation on the amount of revenue that an agent takes in. That's wrong. It's in violation of policy. The Taxpayers' Bill of Rights would also make it in violation of law.
In addition, if a taxpayer wins a dispute with the IRS, he or she will get legal fees paid for by the government under the proposed law. Also, the measure would sanction abusive tax agents.
There have been cases when abuses have been committed on taxpayers beginning audits. Okay, elsewhere, there's good news for savers tonight. 3-month T-bills came in today at 7.3%. That's the highest level in 3 years. But those rising interest rates will hurt home buyers. On Wall Street, however, higher rates also discouraged the stock market, which lost 2.5 points today, coming down from yesterday's post-crash high. Finally, NBC has signed entertainment chief Brandon Tartikoff to a new, reportedly 7-figure deal. Tartikoff has now been head of network programming longer than anyone in television history, 9 years. And that's money matters.
And he's only 29 years old.
That's right. We love it. More Brandon. All right. Thank you, Dougie. Now we've got sports next. The Dodgers, of course, are going for it at the stadium. Freddie is there.
And Celtic fans, don't worry. Larry Bird's favorite color is still green.
Money Matters is sponsored by Great Western's family of companies over $30 billion strong.
Change the face of crime. How? Match to prisoner visitation. Dial 1-800 for a match.
This is Sizzler's all-you-can-eat salad bar. This is the build-your-own tostada bar we added to Sizzler's salad bar. And this is the hot pasta bar we added to the build-your-own tostada bar that we added to Sizzler's salad bar. Now, what more could we possibly do to improve a feast like this? Add dinner. Presenting Sizzler's new steak and salad bar dinner. A freshly cut sirloin steak that comes with all of the above for the price below. Sizzler, a fresh experience.
When last we saw Fred Rogan, he was surrounded by frantic fans, but apparently not so frantic or not so surrounded. Fred, what's happening out there?
I think the Dodgers are frantic inside, Jess. They're in the top of the third inning inside the stadium, and the Dodgers are trailing the Mets 1-0. Dodgers have had trouble on the hill. Tim Leary has been wild, thrown an awful lot of pitches, walked a lot of hitters. Mets scored their first run in the top half of the first. Bottom of the inning, the Dodgers had a chance to get to David Cone and could not cash in. Cone looked a little stronger in the second inning. Again, we're in the top of the third now with the Mets hitting. They're leading the Dodgers 1-0. As you can see, there are still people behind me, people still looking for tickets, but there are no tickets to be found right now, as Brett Lewis found out before the game began. Here's what Brett had to say with the fans.
What can I say? We're just a little calmer about such things than New Yorkers. We do have our share of rowdies, but we keep it under control.
Man. Oh, we are pumped. We got the paint, man. We got it all. We are pumped up for the New York Mets.
We got this right here in memory of Jay Howe.
Jay Howe's going to win it tonight, folks.
Winning pitcher, Game 6, Jay Howe.
What motivated you to do this?
My wife did it. She held me down and she started dyeing my hair and my face, and I couldn't do anything about it.
Anywhere else, you have noisemakers, but in Southern California, you get a computerized air horn. Now, you realize if you went to Shea Stadium wearing a Dodgers cap, you probably wouldn't get out with your life.
I wouldn't say that. You get a little static, but not much.
But it's safer here to have a Mets cap than it would be to have an LA cap there.
Sure, a little bit.
This Dodger fan went to the playoff games at Shea Stadium. He agrees they are a little more intense about things on that coast.
I don't know if you call stupidity intensity, you know, but I mean, they just aren't very...
But don't you find the fans in L.A. just a little more mild-mannered?
They appreciate the game. You know what Bill Veeck said? He said, baseball is a game to be savored, not to be gulped. And that's what we do. We sit here and savor it. And we're going to savor a win, right? Yeah! All right!
Well, the fans are all here, as you can well see. Dodgers inside trailing the Mets 1-0 in the top half of the third. Basketball would have been rumored for some time, becomes a reality today. The Houston Rockets acquiring Otis Thorpe, a free agent from Sacramento. In return, they give up Jim Peterson and Rodney McRae. Could there be trouble with the Boston Celtics' Larry Bird? Let's go to their training facility. Larry Bird has reported to camp. He is working out with the club, but his contract is up in 2 years. He wants a new deal right now. The Celtics aren't negotiating with him, and he was asked if he'll become a free agent.
I never go free agency. I'd probably quit before I did that. You know, I think if it came down to that, I've said before I might, but, you know, if I really sit down and think about it, there's no way. I play my 2 years and just get out of it. If I play an extra year or 2 years, it'd be with the Celtics, unless they trade me. I'll give them everything I got while I have it, and I think that I got a few years left in me, and hopefully we can get together and win some championships.
Well, Larry Bird wants to remain a Celtic. Hopefully Red Auerbach will give him the money he wants. Inside, Mets 1, Dodgers nothing. The champagne is on ice, and hopefully the Dodgers will get to sip it tonight. They would be the first Western Division club to reach the World Series since 1981. The last Western Division club to do so, the Dodgers. Jess and Kel, back to you.
All right, Freddie, bring it home. We'll see you later. Thanks. Now we've got big doings in other parts of town. Poly Pavilion, famous for its national champions. This week, though, a new kind of champ could be crowned there, and we'll be back with that.
Tonight's sports was sponsored by Delta Dental, California's oldest and largest group dental plan.
Anyway, I was there for, what, 5 years? Mm-hmm. I hate to raid these guys, but I bet I could get Jensen and Chimino over here.
What do you think it would take?
My wife never lets me forget. This is the other one. The Harrison Frank Anniversary Sale. Your chance to look terrific. At terrific savings on items like men's suits, sport coats, and women's fashions, too. The Harrison Frank Anniversary Sale. Don't miss it.
Notice Kentucky Fried. Of course, we're going to have a full report on that fire at LA Central Library that broke out just about an hour and a half ago. We should have some damage estimates. Also, Fred will show us the outcome of tonight's big game, as you just heard him. Will this be the night the Dodgers do it? We're going to find out. And as they ready Poly Pavilion for Thursday's debate, both the candidates in town tonight, and our political editor, Linda Douglas, will have that story. And, of course, we'll have a whole lot more. That's on the news at 11. Please join us then. Jess?
We've got some of that story. The satellite dishes are already on the roof. The TV vans are parked outside. And inside, brigades of technicians are turning UCLA's Poly Pavilion into a debate venue. Preparations are in high gear for Thursday night's second round of sparring between Michael Dukakis and George Bush. They'll be facing questions from moderator Bernard Shaw of CNN and the first ever all-women panel, including Andrea Mitchell of NBC, Ann Compton of ABC, and Margaret Warner of Newsweek. If you do not have a ticket by now, just like the Dodgers game tonight, don't call UCLA. Just pull up an easy chair in front of your home TV. Both Bush and Dukakis will be arriving in Los Angeles tonight. They'll be spending most of the next couple of days preparing for that Thursday night encounter.
All right, and watch it on Channel 4, right? And that's going to do it for our early news. Tom Brokaw coming up next with NBC Nightly News, and that, of course, will be followed by Entertainment Tonight. That's at 7.
E.T. travels to Yugoslavia to talk with Pierce Brosnan. He's there shooting a new version of Around the World in 80 Days.
We'll see you at 11. Good night.
Good night.